Hey, this is Brian O'Halloran. You might know me from such films as Clerks, Vulgar, Brutal Master. You're listening to the Timo and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there's my partner in Mindcrime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben Hog Wild Harley.
Hey, Timo. That's right. My last name is Harley, my friend. So I'm always Hog Wild.
That's right. There's some Hog Wild stuff going in one of our official films this week, too. So
yes.
make a little reference. We're kind of on a pig freak out. A little bit on a Piggly Wiggly freak out. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Pigs are friends.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they're good to eat.
Yeah, they are. They're good for lots of things. So
that's right. Yeah.
80s horror films too, I guess. So yeah. Well, let's see here, Mr. Ben Harley.
Sure.
In our space-time continuum, as we speak about.
Yeah.
Let's see. I had an Ultraman show.
Okay. Yeah. Timo warmed up for the adolescents.
Yes. Right? Technically, they were called the Radolescents.
The Radolescents.
So the deal is that. This is kind of funny. Yeah, I was explaining. Yeah, actually, Wes from Nihilate's drummer showed up with his lady friend, and so I talked to them for a little bit, and they kind of understood what I was talking about. Now, Wes is not the original drummer in Nihilate, and I am not by far the original guitar player in Ultraman. Okay, I am the original guitar player in Fragile. Blah blah this and that, but. So I had to explain to him. He was trying to kind of ask me the same thing as, I don't understand this. What's going on? I said, okay, so here's the deal. I said, the Adolescents are still a band. He goes, well, yeah, they're right here. I go, no, that's that's technically not the Adolescents. He goes, I don't understand. I was like, all right, here we go. I said, the band has changed members so many times. There is not one original member left in the Adolescents. But they're still running around as the Adolescents. I think the Guess Who might be doing the same thing. I think there's 3 of the Guess Who's running around town or whatever. But
I'm sure there are.
So this lineup was a lineup that was on like their classic first 2 releases.
Okay.
So they played the first 2 releases. So it was weird that we weren't playing with the Adolescents, but technically we were playing with the real Adolescents. Even though they weren't the real Adolescents, they were the Radolescents.
The Radolescents, yeah. I can dig it.
Yeah, so that was, it was, interesting. They were good. Let's see. Apparently, I think it was their singer came up to Tim Jameson and said, I still have an Ultraman 7-inch I got 30 years ago. Still listening to. Yeah, so.
That is awesome.
I feel part of the clique. I feel like I'm part of the clique.
I think you are. And you are.
Yeah. But it was fun, good time. Played a lot of our new stuff, so that was an interesting set. And like I said, Wes from Nihilate was there, and all good. But then I got bad news. News. Yeah, bad news. The Exploited show has been canceled.
Oh yes. I think you mentioned something about that.
Yeah, so that was coming up, I believe, in September. And apparently, I think there was their singer has had heart problems. And the agent told Bob Fancher from Fubar, our other guitar player, he tells him, that, well, he's got to make some life changes, in order to get back on the road. So they're apparently going to try to rebook the tour next year. Now, this is a big deal because they're from, I think, England. Yeah. So to book a tour and cancel, it's not probably, their agent's probably got his face in his hand right now going, oh, Jesus.
Oh, gee, yeah.
Yeah, and, so they are going to try next year, I think, again, to redo it.
Okay.
As long as he can make those life changes. But of course, Bob Fancher reminded me, this is his 3rd heart attack. He would have thought the first 2 times he would have figured out to change his life. I said, well, he's punk rock. So what are you going to do? What are you gonna
That's
do?
right.
So,
You know?
but
Heart ain't gonna stop him. Come on.
I know, but so we did get a little bit of good news though. We are playing in. I don't know the venue. I don't know the exact date or anything like that. We are playing at the Riot Fest in Chicago, which is a big punk rock palooza type deal. Apparently, we are playing.
That's a big deal.
Oh yeah. Apparently, we're playing with the Boll Weevils.
Okay, yeah.
So anyway, so we got some stuff. Got some stuff going on.
Stuff cooking.
Got some stuff cooking.
That's good.
Yeah. What about you? You got some wrestling stuff coming up?
Yeah, Tim, we got something this month. I mean, I know we are in the space-time continuum, and I'm also an hour ahead of you, even.
Mm-hmm.
Time is just relative, though, buddy.
It's like a live-action Buck Rogers show sometime.
Yeah.
The Tim and Harley show, yeah.
Yes. This August 26th, we'll be doing another house show here in Toledo at St. Clemens Hall. It's a 5 o'clock bell time.
All right.
It's going to be a good one. Really excited. We are actually vying for the belts. I shouldn't say we, I should say they. That dreaded potentate of hate and the circus of pain.
Right.
Are going up against Andy Cementhead Shane and Rick the Homemaker Baker, my friends.
That just sounds like a win to me.
I hope so. Well,
I got some intuition. I
might have mixed up their names a little bit.
Okay.
But yes.
I don't care how you put those names together. It still sounds like a win for you.
I hope so.
I'm putting my money down here.
I hope. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, hopefully we can spread a little love. If you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
As in my hateful love.
Right.
Yeah. No, very excited, Tim. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a good show, a good house show. And coming up. So thank you.
So it's the 26th of August, you say?
26th of August, my friend. Yes.
Right.
And I also will try to be posting some. Our match hasn't made it up on television yet.
The
coming up.
Powerbomb Wrestling one yet?
Yes. Yeah. But they did. Excuse me. Had 3 matches from the Matthews Ford show on, which is good. And if you might, want to take a look, if you might want to check out old Benjamin Boone, the Bachelor, he's defending his belt there. So yeah, it was pretty good.
Nice.
Pretty good stuff. It actually didn't look too bad. But just wait till they get a look at us.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be chaos. It'll be nonsense, chaos. So, well, on August 26th, Mr. Ben Harley, Angio and I will be at Horror Hound Weekend in Indianapolis, assisting Danny Hicks and Cassie DePaiva.
I know, isn't that nice?
Jake and Bobby Joe. Yeah, Jake and Bobby Joe.
Smart and brought them in.
Yep. So it looks like a pretty big show. Got it's a new hotel in the middle of town, new dates too. Those aren't the regular dates for Horror Hound. I know that because Horror Hound was always on the opening weekend of the NFL season. And me and our good pal, Mr. DVD Bob, would get together Thursday early before the show and we'd watch the opening game of the season together. So that was fairly kind of cool. But then on Sunday, we would just sit there sweating bullets, looking at our phones, watching the scores, wondering what was going on, just seeing those crazy scores tick up and down everywhere. So So, but we will be sitting with Jake and Bobby Joe. So Tim and Angio will be with Jake and Bobby Joe. It's going to be an weekend. So
it is, isn't it?
Yeah, but we got
good. I'm excited. That'll be a lot of fun.
It will.
I'm excited for Danny too.
It will.
I'm
gonna get there damn early because it sounds like it's going to be in the middle of downtown and crowded and Kiefer Sutherland and is it Jason Patrick? And then coming, it's gonna be kind of a big show, and those guys are over. And Bruce Campbell too is going to be there, and Robert Englund. So those are 4 kind of headliners of one show. So I think they want to draw some people. Yeah.
I think so. I think they're going to.
Harley, I'm so glad I'm going to have one of those little whatever guest tags, so I don't get harassed. You know how I am. I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere because I'm going to get cattle called and harassed and everything. So. It should be a good time. Looking forward to seeing our Horror Hound fans. And speaking of Horror Hound, not fans, I should say friends, our Horror Hound friends I was looking forward to seeing. Speaking of Horror Hound friends, Mr. Ben Harley, I sent you a little video. From a Horror Hound from back in 2012. Ben Harley, there was a legendary show, personally, between the two of us That was probably the biggest nightmare show that we had ever been to together for personal reasons. We were in bad shape. We were not happy campers. It was a Days of the Dead show up in Chicago. Now, this was not
rocking and reeling, mostly reeling.
Yeah, it was really, yeah. I think you were picking bloody fingers at that show too.
Yeah, I was.
It wasn't fun. For similar yet very different reasons. Let's put it that way. And it was not because this isn't a Days of the Dead horror hound thing. It was a fine show. The show was fine. It was us. It was personal. It was problems we were having with other individuals, other friends over there and stuff like that. So at the same time, Horror Hound put on a show, which might have been a little snaky the same weekend but that's fine. These guys can all snake each other. It doesn't matter. But the same weekend, and it was Jamie Lee Curtis. And I happened to get a new shiny Blu-ray of Halloween. Now, my new shiny Blu-ray of Halloween, I do believe came out like 2013. So it wasn't new, but to me it was. I had an older Halloween. I wasn't happy with the transfer. So I'm like, well, I'm going to get this other Halloween. Okay, so I got this other Halloween Blu-ray. So I just popped it in. Transfer looks better. Dean Cundy did some of the overseeing of it. So it looks pretty nice. So I was pretty happy with that. And then they had a couple special features. Yeah. And they evolved around that Horror Hound that Jamie Lee Curtis was at, that we were not at.
Yeah.
And in fairness, and I'm just being honest here. In fairness, it looked like it looked like as a vendor we were probably better off at Days of the Dead, because it looks like everybody who came for one reason alone, and that was to get Jamie Lee Curtis's autograph. They had like one or two shots of the vendor room. They had plenty of time to talk to the vendors. You know? And we're worried about this with the celebrity prices anyway. We understand that it's not like there's a nefarious person twirling a mustache pushing these prices up, but they are hurting some of the vendors. Yeah, it's kind of sitting back, and we've pretty much retired from vending, except for at Vet CityCon, which is the greatest show on the planet. So we just kind of sit back and watch and hope for our friends that this doesn't happen. But we're a little nervous about it. So, but anyway, so I'm watching the special features, and they're following Jamie Lee Curtis around, and you see like Sean Clark and other people that we see at the shows that are, they're all, I'm in front of camera, types of things, which we all would be. Sure. And they have a little VIP party with the cast of the first two films in like a suite at the hotel. Yeah. And there's a knock at the door, and Jamie Lee Curtis answers the door, and somebody walks in, and then there's this young lady walking behind her, and Jamie Lee Curtis stops her and says, "Vote for Michael Myers for Haddonfield City Council." Why, I could, I'm like, whoa, that's Ben Shirt. That's Harley's shirt. So she actually comments on your T-shirt on that, which is kind of cool. And a lot of times those little things don't really get to me, but I thought that was kind of cool, especially coming from your direction. You know what I mean? Like having that shirt and everything. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, oh, no, yeah, Tim. Well, thank you very much. Because I'd never seen it, and then you sent that over, and it made my month, year, and my Halloween geek life. How about that? So,
right.
Yeah, that is it's really cool, and it's funny because the way how the way it unfolded, she just opens the door and she does say it, reads it, and I was like, oh wow, that's so that was cool, really cool, and it's stuff like that make doing these all worth it too. Even if I can't get my stuff out there as much as I want to or whatever, it's out there.
Right.
That stuff's traveled. It's much more traveled than I. So,
right.
So it's really cool to see that. That just makes my day, and it makes it all worth it, And wow, what a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. I'm surprised I even caught it. It was real late at night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning here, and I was about ready to go to bed, and I was just kind of finishing up, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, I better document this quick. I'm never going to remember this. I was like, I better document it. So, but it was cool.
Thank you, Tim. Yes, I want to put that out there and let the people see it too a little bit. So
excellent.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah.
You're welcome.
No, and it did that really. I had one little downfall last week, so it helped
Good.
Pull me out of the,
Very good. Very good.
Yes, yeah. Out of the ditch. Pulled the car out of the ditch.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw you right back in the ditch now and start going through some stuff I looked at.
Yeah, sure.
Because you never know what we're going to dig up here when we're doing this.
That's right.
Let's see here. Let me start off from 1990, Mr. Ben Harley.
Okay.
Angio and I watched the Coen brothers film Miller's Crossing.
Okay.
Yes, the Irish gangster movie, like 1930s gangster movie with Gabriel Byrne. Apparently, we're on a couple freakouts. We're sticking to them because Albert Finney is also in this movie. So we are technically on an Albert Finney freakout.
Yeah.
And always fun to remember that there is a little Sam Raimi cameo in that.
That's right.
It's one of the gangsters outside, like they're shooting up a business of some sort, and like one of the speakeasies or something, and Raimi's out there with his pistol ready to go. So, but kind of fun. And I have to say that it reminded me of. I've had a couple of honors, Mr. Ben Harley, and one of them was watching Intruder with Danny Hicks. Yeah, that was kind of weird, because he was killing people up on screen, and he could kill me at any moment, and he'd probably be okay with it.
On the other side of the room,
yeah. So, but there is a line in Evil Dead 2, and people who know Evil Dead 2 might know this line well. And Danny says it, and it goes something. I can't directly quote, but it goes something like, "The crazy bucks done gone blood simple." The crazy bucks done gone blood simple. And he argued with Sam Raimi on set. He goes, "Well, what does that mean?" And Sam's like, "Just say it. It's in the script." He's like, "Well, it doesn't make any sense. What the hell does crazy bucks done gone blood simple? What? I don't understand what that means." And so they argue back and forth. And Danny told me that Sam finally said, "Look, Danny, they're friends of mine. These guys are friends of mine. They're making a movie called Blood Simple. Okay." He says, "I just want you to say a line. It's like it's a little nod to them." And then he said, "Okay, fine. So I actually got to present to Mr. Danny Hicks for the very first time in his life the film Blood Simple.
Okay.
So he understood what it meant after that, and he enjoyed the film on top of it too. Yeah, so that was kind of cool that I cleared that all up for him. So that was although that was not this movie, it was still a Coen Brothers movie, Miller's Crossing, which is, I think, right next to Goodfellas, one of the best gangster films ever made.
It's like Scarface, right? You love.
Well, we're moving on, Mr.
Depends on which Scarface you're talking about.
Okay. Right, moving on. Let's see here. From 1979 on Amazon Prime. Just me watch this, okay?
Just by your lonesome.
Just by my lonesome, yeah. The Demon, all right?
Ooh,
with Cameron Mitchell in it. And this is a weird, disjointed Halloween ripoff. Cameron Mitchell plays like a cop who has ESP, and he's after. So he's sort of like he's sort of like a Loomis with a little ESP going on upstairs.
Okay,
and he's after a killer who looks like a really pale, like Alan Alda or something like that. Who has like a rubber mask.
He's pretty pale already.
Yeah, I know. But the killer has like a rubber mask that appears and disappears at will. This is a bizarre film. I think this is some bizarre work print that somebody got like really coked up on one weekend and threw together and released. Bizarre film.
The Demon.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so bizarre. The killer he wears these black gloves with blades on the end of them.
Do they disappear?
No, they don't.
Okay.
But his preferred method of killing is putting a plastic bag over someone's face, which I'm like, if you got blades on the end of your glove, you could just like scratch them to death, and you might cut the bag open and kind of ruin your kill. With those things. Yeah. So very strange film. It's an awful transfer too on Amazon Prime. I don't think there is a good transfer on this, but it's like a VHS transfer or whatever. So it's, yeah, boy, you kind of sit there and watch like, the fuck's going on? So
is this a work print?
Yeah. So let's see here. Moving on, Mr. Ben Harley. From 1944, Angio and I finally closed the book on the Mummy, the Universal Mummy series, and watched The Mummy's Curse.
Okay.
With Lon Chaney, and we had Gooby.
We had
Gooby. Yes,
That's
and
not a bad one, though.
it's not a bad one. There is a potentate celebrity impersonator.
Is
A
there?
potentate hate celebrity impersonator on there, yeah. You need to burn Tana leaves and resurrect your creepy clown wrestler sometimes.
I might have to, man. I might have to.
Because you look like it. I mean, these people are like, I'm telling you, they're trying to imposternate. I'm telling you, they're trying to imposternate the potentate of hate. And of course,
many have tried, Tim.
Right. Of course, Gooby has the line, Massa Boss, the devil's on the loose and he's dancing with the mummy.
That's right.
Oh, Gooby. Oh, gee whiz, man.
You be dancing with the devil.
What did we say, Mr. Ben Harley, when we were sitting there in my basement at the Oasis, cross-eyed, getting messed up? We've come a long way. Yes. We've come a long way. No matter what you think, we've come a long way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo,
yes.
Damn. Yeah. So, okay, moving on, Mr. Ben Harley.
Yeah.
We stuck on a couple more freakouts.
Okay.
One of them was a 1981 freak out, which I'm always on a 1981 freak out.
Oh, why not?
Yeah. And a John Carpenter freak out. Okay. So we watched Escape from New York.
Ah, yes. Snake Plissken. I thought he was dead.
Well, everybody thought he was dead.
That's right.
Yeah. So, it was fun. It was fun. I'm having fun watching these movies and picking out all the different actors too that were in all the different, and some of like the smaller like bit parts are bigger parts in other movies. Oh yeah, we talked about Munson, so we did talk about.
I got to meet Ox Baker one time in Toledo at a wrestling match. He came up. He was watching one of the other matches. And
did you try to pay him $5 to go get some ice for you?
No. I actually, he was nice to me, talked to me, but then other people started to recognize, and so then he hit the bricks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, it was fun. Fun watching Escape from New York. Good movie. Holds up.
I love that movie. It's one of my favorites. Yep. It's just one of them. It's just good. It's got a good feel to it. It's not Escape from L.A.
Oh, no. It's definitely, and Carpenter's always wanted to make Westerns. And this Escape from New York is definitely a Western disguised as a futuristic action movie, but it's a Western from front to back. I mean, even what did I call him last night? Clint Russell Eastwood or Clint Russellwood. That's what I called him last night. Clint Russellwood, because he's totally Clint Eastwood in that movie. Kurt Russell is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
good movie, though. It's got your other buddy in it.
Oh, I know. Right? Actually, I made the joke. I did make the joke because Angie brought it up. She's like, "Can we watch Escape from New York?" She's like, "We mentioned it before," and I think she was kind of at a loss for anything else. And I said, "Well, I was going to say no, but then I remembered that Lee Van Cleef is in it. And if I say no, he'll know. Somehow from afar. He'll know, and it's just wrong. I can't say no to Lee Van Cleef, so I did not say no to Lee Van Cleef.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
Good stuff. So I had fun watching that. Let's see, Mr. Ben Harley. I think I did send you a text. So Riff Tracks put up Grizzly. Finally put up Grizzly.
I got to check that.
Well,
have you watched it yet? Or?
Well, here's the thing. We've talked about this. Yeah. I've realized I don't like Riff Tracks when it's a movie I enjoy. I just don't. And I got 2 minutes in to Grizzly, and they made fun of William Girdler, and then they made fun of the Todd A.O. process it was shot in. Oh, now, William Girdler, we had a little talk with Andrew Prine about, and Andrew Prine was almost crying. Almost instantly when he was talking about William Girdler, okay? So clearly this guy was a good guy and his actors loved him and stuff. He made goofy movies, but who gives a shit? Who doesn't make goofy movies? He's saying Escape from New York isn't a goofy movie? Come on. So they made fun of that. And then they made fun of the Todd A.O. process, which was like that, widescreen process. And they made some bonehead comment. And he was even, I do believe it's even Bill Corbett. He's like my guy. And he said, a process being named after a man named Todd. This ought to be good. So Harley, I turned it off. That was it. I got maybe 2 minutes in. And I was like, I can't handle it. So I turned it off and I turned on Alien Outlaw Riff Tracks with Lash LaRue drinking his way through his lines. I think he was still gargling bourbon while they yelled action. I think he still had some in his throat.
Hold on. I'm almost there.
Yeah. The thing about that movie is they have this gal who's supposed to be, I guess, like a Native American running around like a little thong outfit.
Yeah.
She's got nothing on top interesting whatsoever, but everything from about the tummy down is voulez-vous. Whoa.
Lay round.
So it keeps it mildly interesting, but Alien Outlaw is much more fun. I deleted Grizzly. I just don't like it. They make fun of stuff that I like. Like, I know they do big budget movies like they did, for instance, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. I'd probably have a ball watching that because that's an awful movie.
Oh, it's awful.
Terrible movie. So I'd probably have a ball watching that. But, and I'm debating about Day of the Animals, which is another William Girdler movie. Okay?
Yeah, that's right.
But Day of the Animals is a little goofier.
Yeah, when you try to wrestle a bear.
That's the part. Bear. Yeah. And I'm thinking, is it worth getting to that part, though? Is it worth getting to that? Yeah, I don't know.
I feel you on that. I would want to see some of those riffed on. But I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of them I do like. And I still like some of the movie, but Grizzly might be hard for me too.
Grizzly was tough, and I like Day of the Animals a whole lot. And I like both those movies. Yeah, they're both good with silly little parts in them, but man, for what they had to work with and what they got, I mean, come on. And they just got that icky, creepy 70s vibe to them. Kind of like the ugly kind of vibe, the ugly film stock and all that, It's like, oh man. So anyway, but no Grizzly, but Alien Outlaw was fun. So both on Amazon Prime. Let's see here, Mr. Ben Harley. Okay, also on Amazon Prime, I got to tell you about this movie because this is from 2016. Okay. Starring Paul Dano. All right, from There Will Be Blood.
Yes.
And Daniel Radcliffe, otherwise known as Harry Potter.
Harry Potter,
yeah. In a movie called Swiss Army Man. Have you heard of this movie?
No.
Okay, so Paul Dano is supposedly like shipwrecked on an island by himself, and the corpse of Daniel Radcliffe washes up on shore. Okay, and he basically befriends that corpse, and that's like his pal. And this is a strange film because it starts.
Sound like it.
Well, it's basically fart jokes.
Yeah.
And real deep meaning things. Yeah. Daniel Radcliffe as a corpse farts a lot and starts coming back to life.
Really?
Yes. And then you kind of figure the whole movie, well, this is going on in Paul Dano's head. Blah blah blah, and then as the movie goes on, but the movie is called Swiss Army Man. So, kind of the linchpin of the movie is that he uses the corpse for his Swiss Army knife. So, for instance, if he needs to start a fire, he lights a little match and then makes the corpse fart. He fights a bear with him, Ben Harley.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yes, he finds all these strange ways to use the corpse to help him build a shelter and everything. And meanwhile, the corpse is coming more and more alive and starts talking to him.
Oh, wow.
I have to admit, it's at least interesting for one watch. It was different. It was like something you hadn't seen. Like and it was weird, but it was kind of funny, too. It is, I think it's supposed to be like a black comedy, basically, like a dark comedy. And it definitely was. All right, on to Bigfoot stuff, Mr. Ben Harley. On to Bigfoot stuff. We were talking to our friend Mr. Mark Diamond from the Dwarves last week, and I found an article, and it had the 6 best Bigfoot movies. And of course, you had quit putting Legend of Boggy Creek in there. It's not a good movie. It's a seminal film. It's not a good one.
Yeah.
But anyway, no. So they had the usual suspects in there, but then they had a new movie called Primal Rage.
Yeah.
And I do believe Mark mentioned that on one of the interviews when he was on the show. So, yeah. And he just said he'd heard of it and heard it was a little bit better. But it was on this list also. So we have a little group chat between the three of us. And I said, still need to see Primal Rage. So I do know, and I have not heard reported back from Mark yet. Maybe we'll have him back on the show to report back. But I know he bought the disc. Well, I bought the stream and we watched it. And it is a movie about Oma. That is one of the Indian spiritual names for the Bigfoot, the Sasquatch. But this is more of a Native American Indian spiritual Bigfoot movie. Bigfoot is supposedly like a warrior chief or something reincarnated in some way, and he shoots bow and arrows and things like that, and wears like a mask of like bones and things like that. Sort of a caveman-esque acting Bigfoot, but the Bigfoot itself looks really good and is very ape-like. So although it acts more human as opposed to a lot of the Bigfoot movies we see where they try to make it creepy human looking, this looks creepy ape looking in a way. And they just look good. Now, I don't know what I think about this yet. Okay. It's practical effects. I think I need to see it again sometime, going in knowing what I'm seeing. Because if you're going to go in wanting to see something like Stomping Ground or Exist or something like that, that's not really what this is going to be. It's not quite. Now, it is a horror film. It's a straight up horror film. Okay. I mean, so he's killing people, and the Bigfoot's killing people and shit, you know. So, but sometimes with bows and arrows and things like that, you know. So it is a little different, but I can't say it was bad. And considering all the Bigfoot crap that comes out, it's pretty good compared to all those. I just know there's that fine line in the Bigfoot community of people that get offended by the horror films. I'm not sure if that would happen in this one because they do take a different take on Sasquatch.
Okay.
So I think it's a taste thing. I think it's just how it strikes you, but it certainly is worth trying. It's not a shit movie with a Walmart costume. Put it that way. It's a well-made movie. It's acted well. It's, you know, performances are good. The characters are fairly believable. Girl runs around with no pants on for a lot of the movie.
Oh, if
that helps you out any. If that's so,
that's in a bag.
Well, Bigfoot runs around with his pants off for most of the movie too. So
yeah,
you got it either way. Any way you want to look at it. So, not really. I can't really tell you exactly how I feel about it yet. Time will tell. This is going to be a time movie, but I didn't hate it. I actually liked it way more than Willow Creek or something like on first viewing. Willow Creek bothered me a lot though. So, it was just way too boring and then way too much shit thrown in 1 second, you know.
Yeah, sure.
So finally, Mr. Ben Harley watched The Trail of Bigfoot. Get out!
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Now, last week we talked about The Trail of Bigfoot, Giants in the Swamp. And they were proud of their shiny new parabolic mic, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And the guy was kind of noodly. The guy that was running the thing was a little snippy. Snippy. We were talking about this. So this is another video from the same group of people. Okay, so this is a very slow-moving parabolic mic. This time he did not pull out his don't start laughing at me now. He did not pull out his slingshot and start shooting marbles at anything. He didn't do any of that. But it's the same prickly leader guy, and Professor Parabolic is back.
Professor Prickly, what'd you call
No, the prickly leader and Professor Parabolic are back.
Okay,
and then there's a scared woman who was scared the entire time who plays the flute. Here's the thing with this one. And the last one I said, you know, Harley, I'd watch every week. I would watch a show like this, you know, just something calm and adult and stuff. Well, now that's basically been 2 weeks in a row I've watched a show like this because it was the same people doing it. Now, this time they were hearing tree branches falling and stuff, and it was kind of in a triangulated pattern around them. Okay. And they were that's basically what they were kind of keying on. Were things they were hearing like this. I don't think they heard any howls or nothing, just like things breaking and stuff. And they kept saying, well, no, that's just going to be branches breaking, but man, the forest just like fell apart at one time, if that's the way it is. And it did it in a triangulated kind of thing. Okay, now that's it. So I finally like stepped back, and I actually even went out on the balcony one night at the NGO and had a conversation about this. Told her I watched this show and said, listen, we've lived here now for, I think it's been about almost not a year, but I mean, it's about like 8 months, something like that.
Yeah.
We're getting close to a year here. We've lived here.
Yeah.
I've heard everything. Last night, Ben Harley, we were thinking about you because we heard some really good coyote stuff. Really good. Could have even been a wolf, like a timber wolf of some sort. We're thinking there might be some around here now. And I got to tell you, I don't know, but I got to tell you that especially like after a rain, or something like that, trees basically weep their branches.
Yeah.
Things are fun. I sit out on the front porch having a smoke, letting Shay do her business out in the yard. I see things fall out of trees all the time. Big birds and crows and things land in the trees and they knock stuff off. Okay. So there's one thing. So if you are walking through that swamp jungle land that they're going through down there in Florida, these are the people who are down in Florida. As you walk, you are going to spread the wildlife out like the Red Sea in Moses, right? You're going to spread that out. And they're going to stay in the forest. They're not going to escape the forest, but they're going to give you your pocket of space to stay away from you. So your perception is going to be that there's things triangulating around you.
Sure.
Doing these things. I am more and more convinced that the sounds that people are hearing, including the howls, everything else, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying any of it. I've heard enough stuff living out here, Ben Harley. Living, not spending my weekends, living. You know what I mean? Like, I don't leave my house hardly. I'm a recluse, right?
Yeah, pretty much. You're almost Howard Hughes.
I'm a little bit. Yeah, no, I don't. That you know of.
Exactly. Yeah,
I do keep my toenails just in case if I need them for later. But no, I'm not buying it. I'm not smoking a lot. Let's be honest.
You're not buying what they're selling. Right? And hey, I don't blame anybody. I don't.
No. The only thing that I told Angio that I brought up the time that we were at the Ohio Bigfoot conference. All right, and you were hung up on the ducks fighting in the water. Okay,
someone bathing.
Those were ducks. You know, ducks fight in the water all night long. You know that.
Yeah, but that wasn't.
You know that. Stop it. But it was the knocks that we heard.
Yes. Yeah.
And I said that was the only thing that I have heard out in the woods that to this day, even living here, I can't explain that. That was weird. That was weird. And that was not random. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't random. And it moved, and there was like 3 or 4 of them every, 15 minutes, didn't I say? We were out there every 15 minutes. We had an iPad out there. It was every 15 minutes. There was, and what was interesting, too, is it wasn't your normal researcher knock. It was like 2, 2, 2. It was one strike every time. Yep. One strike in one direction, one strike in another direction. So
and it was a triangulated.
It was a little bit. You're right about that. It was on one mountaintop to another one to another one, or hilltop, whatever they are, and so around the lake.
Yep.
It wasn't researchers. No, it wasn't. There's no way. There's no way this is. It's
they wouldn't. Come on.
No. Right. And it was Thursday. It wasn't like the weekend. I think these people know better than to go out.
Right.
They don't better go out when it's packed there to do this. So yeah, a little disappointed, Mr. Ben Harley, in the trail to Bigfoot. Get out. I did enjoy enjoy last week's episode, which was Giants in the Swamp. That one was a little more interesting, but maybe because it was my first round with with the prickly leader guy and Professor Parabolic. It might have been just I wasn't, kind of tired of him yet. But no, I didn't like this one very much.
Okay. I don't blame you.
Wasn't real good. And I do. And here's the other thing too. Even like tree structures, gonna have to really, really convince me on those, because Harley, I'm out in the woods spraying like honeysuckle and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm almost getting attacked by a hornet's nest trying to pick branches and things off of what you would know as a tree structure.
Yeah.
Because they're stopping a tree from growing because one fell on the other one. And it does happen. And in my front yard, I sent you a picture of it. I did have a tree twisted in half.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? And it was not Bigfoot. It wasn't Bigfoot. So there's all these things that I'm seeing around my house that I'm saying, I'm not saying that Bigfoot doesn't do this stuff. I'm not saying that's convincing evidence. To this day, really the convincing evidence is the eyewitness things and the Patterson thing. And we did hear those knocks. Those were weird. I don't know if they were Bigfoot, though, but they were definitely weird knocks.
They were something.
Yeah, they were definitely going on. So that's what I got, Mr. Ben Harley. I thought I'd throw in some Bigfoot there. Land the plane with some Bigfoot.
Well, that's great, Timo, because then I can lead right into, I watched, I think you might have mentioned this one, Bigfoot Encounters, Timo.
Yeah.
On the Primes. Yep. Yeah, I did watch that. Not too bad. I liked it because they keyed on like 4 individuals.
Yeah, I like that one.
And each one had kind of a different, view on things. Right. One guy, it's like, doesn't want to shoot a Bigfoot, but, if that's what it takes, you know what I mean, to prove it and things like that. But yes, I did enjoy that. And it did make me think of, because the one gentleman who I liked, he looked like a little Paul Williams guy with spiky hair. He, I liked what he was talking about. He was saying the same thing. He's like, when I first started, I go out there and knock on some trees and stuff, silly stuff. He's like, but he's like, and I know you and I have talked about this. Like, we just go out, have a fire, and if they're going to come around, they're going to come see you.
Right.
Don't have to worry about, you know what I mean? And like he was saying, they would do things like they would, have one kind of make a rustle or make noise, and so you're keying on what that is, while another one might sneak up from behind and kind of see what's going on.
Right, distract you.
Like that's that sounds plausible as well. But I just like their take on it. Most of these guys, it wasn't about the tree knocks and all this other stuff. Just going out there and trying to observe.
Right.
And but I forget what he was mentioning. I don't know if it was howls or what, but it was the same kind of experience that you and I had.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. It was like either a howl. I don't think it was a knock for some odd reason, but they heard something like, and it was like one here, and one, and it was just one boom, boom. And he said the same thing. It was like them saying, okay, this is where we are now.
Right.
And then a short time later, boom, same thing again. This is where we are. You know what I mean? And it was like the same thing that you and I heard it. That went on for a while.
Mm-hmm. The knocks, you mean?
Yeah,
the knocks.
You and I heard went on for a while.
Yeah.
So that just made me think of that incident, because it was almost the same thing. But I think this was either a howl that he was hearing. I can't remember.
Right. Well, we've noticed real distinctly out here that's what the coyotes are doing. The one howls, and then the other one howls, and then they all start into a chorus. You've heard it out here. I mean, but it's consistent. It's consistently like that. And the one that you're talking about, the show that you watched, that was one of the ones I watched last week.
Yeah,
that was not Professor Parabolic and the other guy. It was that was a good one. That had Meldrum in it for a little bit, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yep. I like that one. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. It was good. I did enjoy it. I learned a few things.
Yeah, a little different.
I like those guys that are going out, because these are the guys that they're going out there and they're just, they're having encounters and stuff. Like the guy said, he said, like one time they were out and one came along, and basically he said he could see the eye shines of it, and stuff, and kind of see the shape of it. But basically he said we didn't like, oh my God, there it is, like, no, they basically stood there and kept talking, saying, okay, I see something. And he said we kept talking to each other and slowly moved around the fire, so each person could get a look at, there it is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And and like I said, they're not, I just think the way that they're doing it, that's the way you're going to have to do it. You know what I mean?
The way we've always been talking about since day one, that you just go there. Don't.
Yeah.
What's it? You hate cats, right?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
You're not a big fan of cats, right? Well, now
they're all right.
Well,
kind of assholes.
Well, think about like a cat, or let's say Snowy. If you want Snowy, well, now Snowy's cool, but if you want Snowy to go in the garage, tell him to get the fuck out of the garage.
Yeah,
and he'll get in the garage. Go, come here, Snowy, come here, and he'll look at you and go meow, and just stare at you like, oh, this is fun. This guy's yelling at me more. I mean. But if you sit outside, he'll walk right up to you and rub his face on your legs, and stuff like that. He's happy as hell, And it's the same thing. If you want to if you go tramping around trying to find a Bigfoot, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
That they're the hunted. If you're right, and they're right. If you sit down, have a campfire, and stay stationary, eventually animals will creep up, nosy, see what you're doing. Any animal would.
Or entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. To scope what's going on in their house.
Yeah, exactly.
Who are these intruders?
Right. But I just thought it was a very interesting take on it. I did enjoy it. It wasn't, they did talk about some of their encounters that they had, and I believe it. I totally believe in a lot of what they're doing and saying, as far as how they were going about doing it.
Right.
And stuff like that, and I'm all for it. I just think, and the one guy mentioned, the one gentleman, and I liked his take too, was an older gentleman, and he's not for killing them, or anything like that, and stuff. And what this gentleman was saying, and you and I have talked about this, and I'm totally for this. I mean, he's like, you're going to have to do the Jane, Goodall thing, where you're going to have to go out there and live. Right. And you probably have to live there a long, 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 long time before they would ever have any reason to come, unless you're messing with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to for them to even consider. And then one guy made a pretty nice observation, which I thought was I never thought about it, but like, even when he said he thinks, most people or most Bigfoots, he's going Matt Moneymaker on this.
Right.
But it does make sense, if you think about it. But he was saying, that they've probably equated people with guns, as killing and seeing them kill animals.
And equate a grizzly with claws and teeth.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But he was seeing like, even taking pictures that they might even confuse you taking a picture through a camera as a, a gun.
You're pointing some shit at them, and they don't like
You're
it when
looking through something that you don't know, is fire going to come out of this thing too? You know what I mean?
Right.
Which I thought was that's an interesting point too. Whatever. It is. It's much more interesting than the stuff I hear. Coming out of Moneymaker's mouth most times or whatever.
Well, that's what I was telling you. I would rather watch a show like that every week where it's just some adult people talking about stuff they've experienced and why they believe it. That's what what gets me going is when you find somebody that you believe is fairly credible. Yeah. Okay. And there's always people that are not, but you always find people credible and that they believe what they're saying. Yeah, and they're telling you this stuff and you're identifying with them going, oh, well, that could be me too. That's kind of what you think, and stuff. And I kind of get into that. And then they don't focus in as much on people standing around at night with all this. I mean, let's just be fair. These people are like clowns out in the woods with all these like selfie sticks attached to their persons with cameras flying back at their. And it's like, aren't you the people that claim that Bigfoots can identify infrared or like night vision cameras and stuff? So why are you out there even bothering? And that was the very cool thing about the show that you watched was that if I'm not mistaken,
he made that point.
They like the daytime. They're like, why would we go out? And I don't know if they made this exact point, but it is a point. Why would you go out when you're even at more of a disadvantage to see anything? Yeah. Why would you put all the stuff against you? And I still think it's people want to spook themselves. Sure, I really do. Yeah. I just believe people want to spook themselves and they're convinced that, Bigfoot has to come out at night. It's like, why? Yeah. I mean, there's a family.
The hell he wants to do.
Yeah, it's like deer. Well, but deer are nocturnal. Yeah, they're pretty much when they're not sleeping, they're walking in front of cars on the road. Right. They're having fun playing Frogger. So I mean, I don't know.
I go see a couple right now over on the island right here, and they're up.
Yeah.
Chilling, walking around.
I mean, they're in my yard right now,
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I'm just saying it's just one of those things. I did like that show you were watching. That was, what's it? It was called
Bigfoot Encounters.
Bigfoot Encounters. Yeah,
pretty good.
The Southern Bigfoot. Yeah, that's why I wrote down
Bigfoot.
I wrote down daytime. I like this guy's anti-making noise stuff. Yeah, so it's researchers and stories. That's a good one.
Yeah, I did enjoy that one.
Yeah,
Tim, real fast because I will forget. I want to send a shout out to Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Oh, right,
and his family. He's just passed away. I know in the space-time continuum.
Right.
Like the Anvil, liked the Heart Foundation when it first came out. It was one of my favorite tag teams back in the day. I really did enjoy them, and I thought Jim the Anvil was a wrestler's wrestler as far as a pro wrestler. You know what I mean? Just like he had it all going on. As far as he looked like a jerk. He had the nice evil laugh. And those guys. I know they end up becoming good guys after a while, which I never thought worked as well. Not for me, it didn't. But God bless him and his family, and so I just wanted to throw that out there
right.
before I forget, my friends.
And that would be people who watch today who don't know the twist. That would be Natty Neidhart's father.
Yes, father.
Yep. Yeah. I like her. I do like her.
No,
She's my type.
She's
my type.
Yeah,
I like her.
round. Yeah,
she's nice and thick and strong, But
right,
and so was he actually. He was a thick, strong dude too. It's like I bet he was one of those dudes. Certainly didn't have a 6-pack, right? But I guarantee if you punched him in the stomach, he'd break your hand. He's one of those guys,
Yeah.
He had like a beer belly of steel. Type
just
of thing.
Tough guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. He was only 63, and that's still too young. It's, it's always too young.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to our official films. First up, Mr. Ben Holly from 1967.
Oh wow!
We have the British film Night of the Big Heat.
Yes,
which is also titled Island of the Burning Damned.
I think I kind of like that a little better, but I don't know if it fits the movie as well.
I'm not sure either one fits real well. But here we go. We got a movie guy and give you a storyline synopsis here for Night of the Big Heat, otherwise known as Island of the Burning Damned. Here we go.
Yeah.
A freak heat wave sends the temperature soaring on the remote island of Farah. As the heat and temper soar, Dr. Vernon Stone, Peter Cushing, and novelist Jeffrey Callum, Patrick Allen, try to uncover the mysterious reason for the sudden change in climate. But the arrival of Callum's former mistress, Jane Marrow, forces the atmosphere to boiling point. And it falls to Godfrey Hansen, Christopher Lee, to discover that the reason for the rising heat is the start of an invasion of merciless aliens. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
This movie, first of all, it's fairly rare. Film, and it is very similar to, I think, and I'm just going to start here, the superior film Island of Terror.
Yeah,
with Peter Cushing in it, with like little crawling noodle monsters. I think those monsters would dry you out. They'd suck out all your liquids out of you and turn you into a rubber bag, basically. Really, honestly, the movie has a hell of a lot more to do with the love triangle.
Yeah,
more. It makes it seem disjointed in a way. There's a love triangle and a lot of heat on an island. It's got its own like temperature zone. It has its own, which I mean, I'm just sitting there thinking, wouldn't there be news crews everywhere?
Yeah.
If this island it was like the middle of winter or something, they had 90-degree temperatures or something off the coast of England somewhere. It's like, that would be big news. That would be big. Maybe not today, but it would have been back then. It would have been actual news. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So, and then there's some I guess they're alien monsters. I don't know. To me, people are being
show.
No, to me, people are being attacked by cameramen, point of view cameramen
with bright light.
Yeah, with bright lights in it. I saw this once in Turner Classic Movies, and I do get it confused. I'm not anymore. I'm not, but I did get it confused a little bit with Island of Terror. Parts of it, I'll be like kind of mix and match parts of it. Have you seen this one before?
No, Tim. Well, at first I was like, this seems a lot like what was the one we just watched? The Day the Earth Caught Fire.
Yeah.
No, but there was another British one I thought too that I was like.
Well, Island of Terror is a lot like it, but
yeah. So I just but man, I can't. I must say, whatever they use, and Tim, I hate this because I get bothered by little things, and I guess the movie wasn't keeping me engrossed enough. But I kept worrying about everybody's sweat. They kept getting more and more sweaty, but like, okay, well, he was a little bit sweatier earlier than he is right now.
Right.
And what are they using Crisco? I mean, these guys gotta be uncomfortable because like, all right, Mr. Cushing, I love you. If it's that hot, take off your jacket.
Oh yeah.
Take your jacket off. Mm-hmm. Take your jacket off. Oh no. But and we're talking, these were all pit stains, basically.
Lots of
giant pit stains that kept going across, like growing across it just didn't look right. I don't know, but I kept thinking, man, it just looks uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable for everybody.
Right. It was hot,
but
it was the big heat. The night of the big heat. Yes.
But yeah, what's her name shows up, and then the love triangle, which she doesn't waste much time in getting the love triangle.
No, she's got a plan.
Yeah, for sure. And like if I don't know, I'm not British, Jim. I know we came from there. Supposedly, I might have came from space. I don't know.
Right.
I've watched enough Ancient Aliens. I just don't know.
Yeah, you definitely have a space tan. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But the way that they do things in some of these movies, like there's the part where, the two girls, the wife and the mistress are talking, and she does make the mistress a little bit mad, but then she says, "Oh, no, I have known him from before, and we did this and that." Gets the wife all worked up, and she's basically, "Oh no, I was just teasing." Wait, what? Yeah. Now she explained it because, maybe that was my defense mechanism, but I'm like, I don't know. That just, and then everything kind of calms down and goes back to making tea and shit. No, man, this to me, I would be like, I'm out. This is just too awkward for me. I'm out of here. I couldn't take it. But I just, okay, it's movies. I understand. I got to go with it.
Right.
But as far as like the monsters and stuff go, buddy, yeah, there just really isn't. Like, you don't really see a monster. There's a couple people that get killed by just, it's like bright light and the camera coming at them.
Right.
And things like that. There is a noise that's very annoying in the film. Very annoying. I hate
the noise of the creatures. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it would come from out far or whatever. And then they finally... Now, poor Ben, and I've been on a Ben freak out lately. There's a lot of movies I've been watching or TV that have a lot of Bens in it lately. Now, this guy was an old Ben. This guy, he was the sheep herder. Yeah. Now, I know it did kill some sheep, right? It killed all his sheep. Poor Ben. But basically, it has like Christopher Lee going out and finding like charcoal briquettes laying around and charred remains supposedly of different things and stuff. But yeah, there's just not enough monster in it. And then at the end, I won't give the end away, but I was like, oh, man, them aliens weren't real smart either.
No,
I don't know, Timo. There's
overtake
weather on other planets too, right? Isn't there?
Let's overtake a water planet. It'd be kind of like us saying, "Let's overtake that planet that's run on pure methane." Let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that atmosphere is
devoid of carbon dioxide.
Yeah. Oh, let's take over that planet right there that rains down liquid nitrogen. Let's do that.
Yeah,
that sounds good. Right. Yeah.
So I don't know, Tim. I was just very disappointed. I mean, hey, it's got some great actors in it. I love Cushing and Lee. I thought Christopher Lee, I liked him the second half of the film than the first half or whatever. Peter Cushing disappears for quite some time in it too, and then reappears.
Right.
Still hot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wool jacket. Yeah. Full suit, wool suit.
Right.
He might even have had a hat on at one point.
Hey, he kept that stiff upper lip. He was fine.
Yeah,
he was doing good.
He was fine.
He was still a gentleman. Yeah.
His hair always flip.
No, I didn't see a hair flip. Did you?
Nope.
I didn't notice one. I think that's what I think that hurt it. That hurt the movie. Sure that really hurt the movie. The other thing I think of too, and I think we've talked about this before on the show, but I'd like to bring it up now that we've watched Night of the Big Heat. The suspension of disbelief for me, I mean, it might be the heat for some people. It might be the water hitting the creatures for some reason or things like that.
Yeah.
That's all fine and dandy, but I got a question for everybody. Okay. How the hell do those little creature things build spaceships to traverse space?
That's what I was wondering. I don't know if they just got dropped here or they were spores that started to grow here. I don't know because they were planning an invasion. And I know, Tim, you gave a great, or movie guy gave a great synopsis, but we didn't really give much of a setup.
No.
Basically, the guy he's a novelist. Him and his wife moved to this island. They have a pub/hotel.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to his wife, the reason he wanted to move out there to isolation is to get away from this cuckoo monkey lady. So she comes there, and then you have Christopher Lee's character that's there because he thinks there is an alien invasion coming.
Right.
But yeah, I don't. It's not much of an invasion, man. Really, it would be a slow invasion.
Right. Well, and the thing is too is like,
but then you just get your sprinkling can out there and just water. I mean, you're good.
Right. Well, I mean, how do creatures get like okay, the alien movies? All right, I get it. You implant yourself into the chest of an intelligent creature that can build spaceships and things. Yes. Yeah. But if these were aliens, where the fuck were their thumbs in order to put together a spaceship?
I don't know.
You see what I'm saying?
It's like they must have the mind trick thing going. Jedi mind trick. I don't know.
Yeah. It's that makes it hard on me sometimes. Like a spaceship crashes and then like these lumpy things come out. It's like, whoa. Those are like big bacteria. They're not building spaceships. Come on now. And stuff. So, but that always gets to me. But yeah, the girl.
Way too long.
It is. Yeah,
25 minutes too long.
And it's only like 94 minutes long. So it's
sorry.
It's well, yeah. And the thing is you're right though, and it's way too much of this love triangle thing, and it's so forgetful. Yeah. Like Island of Terror is not very forgetful. It's got some, even the monsters are goofy, but they do goofy things and it's fun. And they leave like rubbery skin things in their wake, when they kill somebody, and it's all fun and stuff. This is just like, we've got this kind of like really substandard, boring, like kind of a love triangle story. And we're going to throw some light bulbs in there and screams and make you think something's happening. 'Cause that's kind of what it is. Really. And I love these old British movies. I mean, Terrence Fisher directed it and stuff like that. But, a lot of these guys too, they worked. They actually worked. They were workers, so when they got hired to do something, this is basically the Hammer, production crew and cast and everything. And they just went along, did the script and went on to the next movie, and did it. But most of them have some fun stuff that you can grab onto. I didn't grab onto much at all. I might have wanted to grab onto. I even thought the wife was good looking. I thought the wife was good looking. I was maybe wanting to grab onto something on one of the gals, but I wasn't. But not really, honestly. It wasn't even that interesting, to me. So.
Not enough plunging necklines.
No, there's enough bikinis. There's got a couple of good little,
nice,
a couple of good 67 bikinis, but I'm going to have to. I don't want to, and I'm going to come back and watch this movie sometime. I know I am.
It's got to be hard for you, but
I'm going to come back and watch it sometime. I know I am, and maybe I'll enjoy it more.
You'll have it on the new. Was it 7D or whatever is coming out? What's coming out?
The 8K, 4K stuff, UHD, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back and maybe I'll enjoy it more. But this time I did not enjoy it. It was very taxing to watch. I just,
I must say, it's just, I can't really, I'm not going to poop on it, Timo, but I'm going to give it the lowest grade bait, maybe with cigarette butt in it. Because I just, man, I don't know. Same thing. You know me, Timo. The first couple 10 minutes was, whoa. Right. Because the credits went for about 10 minutes at the beginning. I'm like, get on to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was in for a little while until like the monsters just, I was like, okay, well, I know it's classic. They're going to give me 1 or 2 kills and I'm not going to see it, and leave my mind. And then they're going to show a little piece of it. And then I'm going to, no, man, it just, and then the acting was, okay, it's good. You're going to get good acting for the most part, and so, I didn't really care for many of the characters, I didn't really, I don't know. It wasn't enough action going on. The only thing I felt bad about was poor Ben and his sheep. That's about all they, pulled out of my, cold heart in this.
Well, and the monsters are awful. They're basically glowing pantyhose containers, like legs,
and then
pantyhose containers.
And they go, they melt.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was like, that's it?
Right. And so there's not enough monster, but then when you see the monster, you're like, oh, it's too much monster. And then you're like, I'm
like, Lost in Space is laughing at you right now.
Right. So, it's hard for me to poop on anything that Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing are both in.
Right.
And Terrence Fisher directed. So there is some sort of, I guess, a little value to it, but not much. I would not recommend people watching this. And this is the reason. If you want to watch this movie, just watch Island of Terror. It's the same. It was made like a year before or something. It's the same basic premise, but it has fun little goofy monsters, and they actually do things, and people run from them, and the town and the people are after the monsters and stuff. They don't just like this whole movie. They're just like, I'm not even sure how tuned into the monsters they are. They kind of think there's a sound, and they're wondering where that sound was, and when they find the dead things or whatever, that sound was around too. It's like, yes, genius. It doesn't take a genius to figure out the sound is connected, and stuff. And it's just, it's just overdrawn. It overplays its hand. This would have been a better Twilight Zone episode or Outer Limits or something like that.
I'll give you that.
Stretched into 90 minutes. I mean, and honestly, I don't know why they didn't edit it down to like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, take 10, 15 minutes off it. I mean, but I don't know, Ben Harley. I don't make the decisions, especially in 1967. I hadn't hit my stride yet. I hadn't hit my peak. Yeah, sure, damn right. But all right, let's move on, Mr. Ben Harley. So that was 1967. Now skip ahead 20 years to 1987.
87.
That's right.
Yes.
And we have the film Slaughterhouse. Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Let's see. Buddy does have an axe to grind. Just to let you know. This was a staple on the VHS shelves. Everybody saw the guy standing there at the big meat cleaver thing or whatever. So it's out on Blu-ray now. So here we go. So let me give you let me get movie guy and get you the storyline synopsis here for Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
I do like this guy's name. So as we start this synopsis thing out, his name's great. Here we go.
Yeah.
Lester Bacon's Slaughterhouse has run into financial problems. Faced with the town lawyer, the sheriff, and the rival slaughterhouse owner trying to purchase his land, Lester decides to take matters into his own hands. After discovering the type of violence his hulking and mentally deranged son, Buddy, is capable of, Lester orders him to permanently dispose of anyone who conspires against them. Pretty much.
Yeah, I think Buddy's doing a little bit on his own. Yeah.
Yeah, he's making mistakes. He is. He kind of gets him into it. Yeah. So this movie, I immediately, and you tell me if you disagree, is a almost 100% cross between Motel Hell and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Almost exactly. I mean, like
about half as good.
I would tend to agree with you there. It is like that. So these kids, they want to make a horror video, and I don't think the video they ended up making really made a lot of waves in the world. Not a whole lot of genius going on to this horror video. Was it a horror video or was it a music horror video?
I'm not
it's
sure.
Real hard to tell. It's real hard to know what was going on. They did have like a VHS camera. Of some sort. So a group of friends want to make a horror video. And then of course there's the old Slaughterhouse. The old Slaughterhouse is where they need to go to make
Slaughterhouse.
Now one thing about this film I will say, what makes it a little interesting is that you think, well, that's it. The kids are actually the subplot.
Yeah.
The real plot is these old town people that everything is about slaughtering pigs. I mean, if you hear another hog wild comment or don't be so pig-headed, did you catch all of those comments? I mean, all of them. I mean, every 2 minutes you'd hear a pig reference of some sort, bacon, anything, so... Oh, KFAT, KFAT, the radio station, and stuff. And even the Motel Hell-esque line from old Lester Bacon where he said, you at 30% fat, you and your corporate, machine-run slaughterhouse and you're 30% fat. I could strip, so very much like using preservatives at Farmer Vincent's place and stuff like that. So a lot of things like that. But the thing that I found interesting is that there was really a story going on there. Yeah. There really is a story going on where they want to get, they need Lester's land because the other slaughterhouse has grown so much that he needs it. So they're making offers to him. And a big hotshot lawyer type guy in town is trying to broker the deal between Lester and the other guy. And so a couple of the kids happen upon Buddy, the son. And so he kills him.
Old handsome.
Right. And he kills him. And to the movie's credit, the dad, Lester, comes down and is like, what the hell did you do? You know, like he didn't tell him to do it. But once he was in hot water, then he told Buddy, no, if you're going to do that, you might as well kill these dickholes over here too. Because I don't like these motherfuckers. So go over and get those guys or whatever. So that's basically the movie. And then the kids come back to the slaughterhouse to shoot their video. And then they run afoul of everything that's going on. And stuff like that. So, in honesty, it's really not that bad for a later slasher movie because there's actually a story. And it holds up for what it is. I did like the dad and Buddy. But I felt like they were a low rent, like Gunther and the dad from the Funhouse. A little bit. So there is a little bit of that going on. And Texas Chainsaw with the dad and with Leatherface and stuff. Definitely a little bit of that going on and everything else. But I have to admit, I've seen this like 2 or 3 times. Okay. I remember I watched it. I rented it when it was on VHS back in the day. I bought a DVD of it around 2000 when it came out. But none of these were good transfers. This, on the other hand, was a very good transfer of this film, and it kind of sucked me in just a little bit more to where I recognize, hey, there's an actual story going on here, and some people made some effort to make this movie. It's not that bad. The problem I have with it is I don't really like Buddy that much.
No, he
makes like pig noises and things like that. I'm okay with that, but put a mask on him. Put a mask on him. Make him creepier because he kind of looks like I don't know. He looks like a roadie for Alice Cooper, or something like that. He just doesn't really. And here's the other thing, but I'm going to turn it over to you here because I don't know if you've seen this or not. I know you've heard of it probably and stuff. Okay,
I've heard,
but I waited the whole damn movie for the little brother. Do you remember they were talking about Buddy and they said, oh yeah, well there was what happened to the other little brother? Well, I don't know. They never really said. He just kind of disappeared and the wife died in childbirth. Why would you write that or keep it in if you don't make hay out of that? I was waiting the whole time for a really creepy looking dude to come out of somewhere, I was ready for it. And it would have knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
It would have made this movie much more memorable. But alas, you just hear those lines and they're never mentioned again.
Right.
Never. That I remember. I don't think they ever stumbled upon a corpse of a baby. I don't think they ever wondered again where he was or nothing. And I thought that nearly ruined it.
Opportunity.
Yeah, it nearly ruined it because I really was waiting. Yeah. I was waiting. I always tell everybody in Angie when watching a movie, they don't put shit in a movie unless there's a reason. There's time. We got time, man. We got time. They don't do it unless there's a reason. So I'm guffawed. Unless I know they were wanting to do a sequel after this, so maybe they were going to do that.
Okay.
But anyway, so what'd you think about coming back to? You hadn't seen it, you said? Yeah.
No, I hadn't seen this. And I do remember this from the VHS days. You know, and it's just one that I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, the cover art was kind of cool, but to me, it got to the point where I'm like, these were coming out in so fast and furious, and I'm like, and I got burned too many times.
Yeah. So,
but I didn't really. It's not that I didn't not like the movie. It's okay, and I will agree with you. It does have a story to it, and I didn't really like the actors. Or some of them are okay. Some are real bad. Some are real.
Oh, that girl, the friend. Not the main girl, the friend, the girl that's like the littler girl or skinnier girl.
Yeah.
She was looked terrible.
Like what's the new girl? The new princess? What's her name? That just got married to.
I don't remember her
she
name.
Looked like the 80s version of her. It's funny. It did. Yeah. I kept thinking she looks familiar, and I was like, oh, it's what's her face?
Yeah,
it's not nice. It's not nice.
Yeah. You're getting old Ben Harley.
Jeez,
they're like,
man.
hey, I'm watching this movie, watching a jigger over here, and there's that what's her face thing from that place across the water over there.
Her with the face.
Right.
I don't know. I feel you too with Buddy. Like Buddy was okay. He came off to me a little bit too comical at times, you know. So I wasn't as scared of him, maybe I should have been.
Right.
But I know there was a couple parts too. Like you're right, Timo. There, it's got old buddy out there and he's hanging with his pigs. He's just hanging in the pen with them in the sky. He's just hanging out. And there's a cat that goes by, and he looks at the cat, and I kept thinking, and that cat, days are numbered. Sure enough, they show a little bit later he got the cat too. So yeah, you're right, Tim. I'm not going to show you something unless it has something to do with later. But yeah, I don't know. You're right. Maybe they could have done a little something different as far as he was greasy and kooky enough, but I didn't like he kind of had like this I don't know. It looked like something out of a Shaka Zulu video or something. It didn't look like something that you would be having on a pig farm.
Oh, that giant cleaver knife thing or whatever?
Yeah, but it looked like a voodoo priest would have.
A little bit, it did.
It didn't. So that kind of threw me too.
Did you hear the dad actually say that was a gift to him?
Really?
He said whenever he found the kids dead, he's like, I got you that as a gift to make it easier to slaughter the pigs, not the people. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, so, but I don't know.
It was weird, though, yeah.
It might have lent, better if he would have had a mask on.
Yeah, well, just something. He just had like kind of I don't know. Maybe part of it was apparently the actor was like, wasn't very tall. I don't think he was even tall as you or I, and so I think they had to make him look taller and bigger and stuff. And he just, I don't know. He looked like a guest star in The Incredible Hulk or something.
Yeah.
It just didn't. And I'm not saying he was the wrong guy, but they had him made up wrong. And I'm still telling you, it would have been a tremendously better movie if they would have made hay with that little brother subplot. I mean, even the Funhouse. Remember the Funhouse did talk about that. Yeah. And there was
he was the kid in the jar.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So at least they had some kind of answer to that. And I believe the jar was seen first. But I'm just saying, so it's one of those things where, look, apparently the guys that made this movie they made like military training films, and they wanted to make a feature, and they knew that horror was, and they liked horror, so I mean, it was like, so they thought, well, we can probably do this. They got it done. They did it right.
Yeah.
They got, they used film, everything. They got the money. They paid the money back from the people that invested. And everything, so they did it right. But I could tell, like, I watched a couple of the features and they got burned out. This was not for them. Making these movies were not for them, because they said they made the movie and then they even had poster art for like the part 2 and 2 other movie ideas that they were going to do. So they were actually going to make a little company and start making films. And I think that this one just burned them out.
Yes, yeah.
Just burned them out. It's like, oh, wow, this sucks.
This is what it's about.
Yeah, right. So, and I think it suffered a little bit for that. So I think that my major problem with it, besides being from like, how I am, Ben Hurley, anything after 84, 85 you're treading thin water with me. We got the interesting films like The Reanimator and Evil Dead 2 and stuff like that. But, I don't like what those did to movies either.
Right.
And this to me was like just
it's a little Chainsaw 2. For me as well in it a little bit, like, which
it's really kind of borrowing from a lot of different things and good things. It's borrowing from good things, but it's just very ho-hum. On the other hand, I will admit, while I was watching it, I was kind of roped into it, and it was because it was much better than I remembered it. Okay. And I think that's because I was actually watching a very good transfer of the film.
It does look good.
And everything. Really so, and I could hear everything. I could see everything fine. So it did rope me in. I wanted more out of it, but I wasn't pissed off about what it gave me. Sure. It wasn't masquerading as something else. I mean, it showed the killer. It wasn't like, Night of the Big Heat or something like that. And again, I just wish there would have been another mystery in that huge labyrinth that was like below the slaughterhouse where they were at running around and stuff. I wish there would have been something else in there, but there's not. So,
and there's no part 2.
No, there is no part 2. No, there is no part 2. So,
not yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna, honestly though, I'm gonna give this a little bit more than Night of the Big Heat. Believe it or not, I'm gonna give it like a real, just a mild Grape Ape up. I again wouldn't recommend it, but man, have I seen a lot worse, and it's not as bad as I remembered it either. It definitely. It helps it to be seen in widescreen and the good transfer and everything. It helps it a lot, actually. What do you think about the film?
I'm gonna definitely same thing, Tim. Another mild Grape Ape. I'm not gonna put the cigarette butt in it this time, but very mild, low bottom of the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It was okay. Same thing. I'm not going to recommend it. I'm not going to go back and watch it. I very highly doubt.
Right.
But I'm glad I saw it, and like most of the ones that we do that I don't like, maybe.
Right.
I'm still glad that I have gone back and watched them, and I know and stuff, because I don't want to feel bad.
Right.
When it comes time for me to go, Tim, to say, damn it, I didn't see Slaughterhouse. You know what I mean? I don't want that on my conscience.
Right. On the flip side of that, at being 45 years old, I've seen this at least 2, at most 3 times. That's plenty of times in your lifetime to see Slaughterhouse. I mean, I hate the fact that I look at things from that prison, but I do. I'm like, you know what? I've been here longer than I'm going to be here. I don't think I need to spend any more time cozying to Slaughterhouse either, but it is worth looking at. It's worth looking at. Right, ironically, I probably will go back and watch Night of the Big Heat sometime and probably throw popcorn at the screen again. But Mr. Ben Harley. So
that's funny. Good times, Tim.
I know, but we need to get revved up. We need to get some good flicks. Get some good flicks going on. I know. We haven't done it for a while, but we need to go back and do some things that we've done before.
Yeah, we might need to revisit a couple.
I think so too.
Buddy. Yeah,
I think so too. Yeah. So, all right. Well, until next week, Mr. Ben Harley, and don't forget also to come out and see Mr. Ben Harley on August 26th at where is it at again?
That is at St. Clemens Hall, Timo, in Toledo, Ohio. St. Clemens Hall. I don't know the address.
That's fine. That's fine. So, and that'll be Sunday, August 26th. Will this be an afternoon gig?
This will be at 5 o'clock. Yeah.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, it's going to be at 5 o'clock.
Okay, 5 o'clock. So come on and see that. If you choose to go to Horror Hound Weekend, that's weekend, stop by and say hello to Angio and myself, sitting with Danny Hicks and Cassie DePaiva. They are great people. You will not be disappointed. If you enjoy Evil
Danny's
Dead
handsome
2,
as hell.
He is handsome as hell, and we all know Cassie is beautiful. So it's going to be me and Danny hanging out with 2 beautiful women. What's wrong with that?
Right.
I'm all for that. All for it.
Lucky devils. Yeah.
Right. So, all right. Well, till next week, Mr. Ben Harley, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.